Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, August 29th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. A day of excitement for nearly 100,000 San Diego Unified students who went back to school today. Most of them returned to campus in person for the fall semester. KPBS education reporter MG Perez takes us to the district's newest high school and the kickoff celebration.
The music of mariachis highlights a welcome to the new Logan Memorial Educational Complex, LMEC for short. The campus here in Barrio Logan is now the center of learning for students in transitional kindergarten through their senior year of high school. The place San Diego Unified sent its superintendent to kick off the first day of school.
We cannot do this without our families. We cannot do it without our communities. And so welcome back, San Diego Unified.
What started as new construction and renovations in 2018 has become a complex with the newest high school in the district and a starting freshman class of 250 students that will grow each year. There are also 4-year-old children starting transitional kindergarten and 1,000 students in all the grades in between.
They will be equipped with the skills and the confidence to pursue a path of their choice, be it college, career, and beyond.
A new year means a new start for San Diego Unified and all its students across the district, along with the staff who will support them. There is also some old business that has to be dealt with. Not many people wore masks on this first day of school. The county health department's count of COVID cases has dropped enough for the district to allow its mask mandate to end.
And now, well, I know everyone's faces now since COVID got down and was a little bit low, and everyone's take off their masks.
As these students prepare to study, the district's health experts are preparing to protect them, and there's still reason for concern.
There is still, as we all know, some COVID in the community, and kids bringing it home to aging parents or unvaccinated family members can be prevented if they're wearing a mask indoors.
The LMEC campus is driven by a Montessori curriculum, which gives students more freedom in how they learn and the choices they make. Amani Fulton is a new freshman who already plans to start a drama club.
It's a student-based club. Instead of the teachers running it, the students will be running it.
On stage?
On stage.
And where will you end up eventually?
Next step would be NYU, and then at the end of the day, Broadway in New York City.
The school mariachi band, by the way, is made up of students and some of their teachers, which strikes just the right notes for a new beginning. MG Perez, KPBS News.
The county health department is joining San Diego Unified in a push to get many more students vaccinated against COVID-19, especially the youngest. The district is welcoming about 2,000 4-year-old children to its new transitional kindergarten programs. The county's Health and Human Services Agency reports that only 9% of children 6 months to 4 years old have been vaccinated against COVID, causing the virus to spread among their unvaccinated family members.
It is impacting them, but we want people to know the facts and be aware of what is and is not the case with vaccinating their children.
25% of the county's latest COVID cases are in children. San Diego Unified will continue offering free COVID vaccinations and testing at all of its schools this fall. The federal government is ending its offer to ship free at-home COVID tests this Friday. The Biden administration first launched the program through the covid.gov website back in January, and since then, every household has been eligible to order more than a dozen free COVID tests. But the website now shows a message that says ordering tests will be suspended on Friday, September 2nd. And that's because Congress hasn't provided additional funding to continue the program. If you think today was hot, then just wait. The National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat watch starting tomorrow. And as KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers shows us, the hot and humid weather is expected to last for days.
Forecasters say San Diego County will be hit by a potentially dangerous heat wave starting Tuesday and lasting through Labor Day. The National Weather Service issued an excessive heat warning.
It looks like this heat wave will go almost all the way to the coast, with the beaches being the only areas escaping the heat.
Alex Tardy is with the National Weather Service. He says temperatures will jump 10 to 15 degrees above normal in many areas Tuesday through Monday.
And it probably will come in two cycles. So we'll get a burst on Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll have a burst on Sunday, Monday of the upcoming weekend.
For those who live inland in areas with less tree cover and lots of asphalt, the heat can be life-threatening, especially for the unhoused. That's according to Danielle Wilkerson of the Climate Action Group San Diego 350.
A lack of tree cover is directly correlated with increased temperatures. It could be, like I just said, two neighboring cities. It could be 5 degrees plus of a difference, and that is determined strictly by how many trees you have.
The city of San Diego has 14 public pools, but only 9 are available for residents to cool off. 5 are closed for the rest of the year. But San Diego County will have dozens of cool zones, offering air-conditioned rooms open for all residents to escape the heat. Tardy says even the nights will be uncomfortably warm due to high ocean temperatures.
It's going to be warm nights, and that's when you have to run your AC more. And if you don't have AC, think about your building or your house. It's going to be accumulating that heat over several days. And each night that doesn't cool off very well makes you start off a little bit warmer the next day.
He also says the extreme heat creates elevated fire weather conditions, and people celebrating during the holiday weekend could increase the potential for fires to start. Jacob Ayers, KPBS News.
And it's time to talk temperatures and quite a bit of heat as we go throughout the upcoming week, perhaps even stretching into the upcoming weekend. An extended period of heat coming up. Shallow marine layer. What does that mean? Well, the clouds not coming that far inland. We're going to be talking about more dry conditions here for most. Notice the excessive heat watches now expanding area-wide, even some excessive heat warnings. And we're going to be talking about these going into effect as we work our way into Tuesday. Just copious amounts of dry air in place. You can see the spin going on with, again, the drier air even shifting a little bit further off toward the north. Overnight low temperature for tonight dropping down to right around the 70-degree mark. Area-wide, we'll be following temperatures as they fall back into the upper 70s. Chula Vista down to 68. Borrego Springs dropping down to 80. Mount Laguna down to 64. Now the monsoon and no-show as we go into Tuesday, really breaking down with this upper level high. Its orientation in place. All the moisture is going to be well to the east and the south. And yes, we're going to be talking about those temperatures really starting to heat up. Now, San Diego 81, you go just inland, though, we'll really start to see the numbers on the rise. Ramona 96, Borrego Springs 110, Mount Laguna topping off at 83. Now, Futurecast is going to be very quiet as we go through the day. We can see some clouds in the early goings. But again, the marine layer not extending that far inland as we go throughout the upcoming week, and it's going to be sizzling as we go throughout the interior. Let's break it down here. Even at the coast, we're talking about the mid-80s. Just inland, though, look at this, mid to upper 90s. Find ways to stay cool, hydrated with water. Be sure to check on the pets. Mountainous terrain, we're going to be looking at the mid to the upper 80s. And over the deserts, well into the 1 teens. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Pavic.
A year ago, 13 service members, mainly from Camp Pendleton, died, along with more than 100 Afghans, when a bomb exploded at the Kabul airport. New details emerge about how the Marines took it on themselves to rescue a group of young female Afghan skateboarders. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh has the story.
It's August 2021. Hundreds of Afghans crowd the Abbey Gate at the airport in Kabul, desperate for ways to get out as the Taliban take over the city. Afghans are forced into a canal as they press to get inside.
It smells of desperation, right? The whole scene where, people are on this canal. It's, it's dirty sewage runoff, and it's just filthy, and they're just trying to get out.
Marine Captain Andres Rodriguez is part of security at the gate. Scores of Marines have been rushed from Jordan just days before the Americans were scheduled to leave Afghanistan after 20 years. Several units decided to help Afghans desperate to flee.
It just de-evolved quickly, where it's like, well, if no one else is going to do it, the Marines at 2-1 are going to do it. They're going to screen, they're going to help people, they're going to provide aid, they're going to do everything that they're being asked of.
Back in the U.S., Marine vet Jeff Faniff is getting calls and texts from Rodriguez and other Marines he knows at Abbey Gate, asking his help locating paperwork for people outside the airport. Faniff tweets his advice for getting into the airport, and then his phone starts to ring.
I found myself having to ask again and again those Marines, hey, can you look for this person? Hey, can you go out into the crowd and try and find so-and-so? Because at the time I was fielding requests from everyone from, local Afghans whose husband or wife was trying to get through the crowd to colonels at the Pentagon who somehow got my phone number.
I was like crying, texting, begging the girls to stay at the gate, that we would figure it out. We would get them through.
Corey Shepard Stern is a film producer from San Diego. In the days before the bombing a year ago, she began searching how to get a group of Afghans out who had been educating young girls there using skateboarding. The women gained global fame after being featured in the Oscar-winning short film about Skatistan. Shepard Stern wasn't involved in that film, but the group reached out to her. Many of the Afghan organizers felt that it was time for their families to leave, including Zainab Husseini, who now lives in the United States.
When I was at work, I heard the Taliban entered to the city, and everything was just changed. And me and my husband decided to leave the country.
Husseini is speaking publicly for the first time about their experience then. She made it through the airport gate once, but was turned back when there was no room on an Australian flight. The next day, she took a red umbrella, a signal for the Marines to spot her in the crowd.
Whoever entered to the airport was safe. It was under the control of U.S. government, and it was like guaranteeing your life.
Back in the U.S., Corey Shepard Stern and Jeff Faniff were celebrating getting one last group through the airport when news came that 13 troops and more than 100 Afghans died in an explosion outside the airport.
And then when the bomb went off at Abbey Gate, and just this terrible, you could feel this empty echoing canyon of void, just of everyone terrified about what it meant for the people that had just helped us do this incredible thing.
That evening, Alicia Lopez, the mother of Corporal Hunter Lopez, was coming back to their home in Indio, California, when she saw 2 Marines in a white truck.
I pulled into my driveway, and they asked me if I was Hunter's mom.
Herman and Alicia Lopez's home has become a shrine to their 22-year-old son, Hunter, who was killed in the bombing. They're still trying to understand what happened to their son that day.
Hunter and some of his brothers and sisters were able to, do great acts in their last few minutes on this earth. So it provides some sense of comfort and solace, but, you of course wish that they were here with you.
Strangers sent artwork, including a painting of Hunter carrying a child made from pictures they found on Hunter's social media. Hunter told them some of what he saw.
I know he understood the seriousness of what was going on, the despair and the hearts and the minds of a lot of the people that were trying to get out and get their families out.
The desperation of the parents.
Yeah.
A year later, they're finding out just a few more details about their son's final moments. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
There's more fallout from the allegations of rape against 3 former San Diego State football players. We have team coverage with reaction from campus, but first, here's KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen with news that the athletics department hired a rape survivor to address the team when rumors began swirling around campus last fall.
You didn't know a single. All right, guys, we appreciate the time.
San Diego State Athletic Director John David Wicker cut short a football press conference today after reporters pressed for answers on what the department knows about the rape allegations against 3 former players in a civil lawsuit filed last week. This comes after Xavier Leonard, one of the players named in the suit, was cut from the team on Saturday. The Bills released punter Matt Ariza, also named in the suit, on the same day. After reading from prepared statements, both Wicker and football coach Brady Hoke walked out of the news conference. About 15 minutes later, only Wicker returned to address the rape allegations.
I'm the athletic director. I'm responsible for this.
Wicker confirmed that the athletics department brought in rape survivor Brenda Tracy to talk to the athletes after the program learned about the allegations.
We brought Brenda Tracy in related to an incident that had been reported to us that SDPD was investigating, and we brought her in for enhanced education for our student athletes, all of our male student athletes.
In a statement to KPBS, Tracy said the SDSU case is very triggering for her and that she knows what the young woman is going through. In the statement, she says, "As I read more and more of the details of this case, it is becoming more obvious that SDSU did not do the right thing." At the news conference, Hoke says he takes the report very seriously and is not protecting any players.
There's no protecting anyone. We're not here to do that, and that's part of being accountable.
Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
And this should be an exciting time for SDSU students. They're heading into a fresh school year with a new stadium just days away from opening. But many students now feel like their reputation is tarnished because of the way recent rape allegations have been handled. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado has more.
Christian Smith takes a lot of pride in being a first-year student athlete at San Diego State University. He worked hard to get here, but now with headlines of gang rape allegations against football players, he feels he has to work even harder to overcome the assumptions people make when they hear SDSU athletics.
It definitely makes me sad, but definitely it's going to be a learning experience because now we have to build back that trust and help others realize that San Diego State's actually a beautiful campus, a place that's diverse and welcoming to a lot of people, and it's like we have to break that reputation of being a sexual assaulted place. Like, you can't have that.
Smith says the teachers and coaches are top-notch, but he fears they will lose good athletes because of this case.
I definitely think now it's going to be a big factor on whether they come here now, because I wouldn't want to go to a school that has a bad rep. But meeting the coaches in the facility, like in the facilities here, like it's amazing.
Last week, former star punter Matt Ariza and 2 other former SDSU players were accused in a civil lawsuit of gang raping a then 17-year-old girl last October at an off-campus party. The former players have denied the accusations through their lawyers. The San Diego Police Department referred the criminal case to the DA's office, which to date has not pressed charges. A group of young women on their way to class says it just confirms what they felt for a long time, and this case just shined a light on the issue.
It's not that I feel completely unsafe around campus. It just feels almost betrayal because it's proof that they really don't value the safety of women here as much as they value football players.
As like a woman, this hurts more because our president is a woman too. And I feel that, there should be more support. The emails that are sent out are not supportive at all. Sometimes I don't even read them because I know what they're going to say. It's just, I don't like how this situation is being handled by the school.
SDSU officials did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
California lawmakers have passed a bill that aims to improve and standardize working conditions for fast food workers. Assembly Bill 257, known as the Fast Food Recovery Act, was authored by former Assembly member Lorena Gonzalez from San Diego. Today it passed in the Senate and will return to the Assembly for another vote on amendments before heading to Governor Newsom's office. The bill creates a state council to establish standard wages, working hours, and conditions. It was a moment nearly 5 years in the making, but after multiple mechanical delays and lightning, NASA scrubbed today's rocket launch. The new Artemis generation rockets are aimed toward eventually returning astronauts to the moon. Ivan Rodriguez is in Florida, and he has the latest.
Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson has called a scrub of the attempt of launch of Artemis 1.
NASA will have to wait 4 more days to launch its most ambitious lunar mission in half a century after discovering an engine bleed with one of the rocket's 4 engines.
It's been almost 50 years since we had anybody get beyond low Earth orbit.
Since NASA's Apollo 17 mission, one of man's greatest achievements has only lived on as a memory until now.
There's a lot that's riding on this test flight.
Although it is an uncrewed mission, its success is key to astronauts orbiting the moon within 2 years, followed by a moon landing by 2025, all before continuing on to Mars.
20 years from now, we will be out, as the song goes, playing among the stars.
Artemis 1 will send a capsule called Orion to orbit the moon, traveling on board suited mannequins collecting data for future missions. Then comes one of the most challenging parts, re-entry.
Coming in hotter and faster than any rocket or spacecraft yet.
How hurtful to the program would it be if it doesn't go right?
Well, that's what you do in a test flight. You stress it to see what is going to work and what does not work.
If the engineers can fix the issue with engine number 3 in time, the next launch window will be this Friday. In Titusville, I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And San Diego Catholics are feeling proud as one-time Bishop Robert McElroy was officially installed as a new cardinal. The 68-year-old McElroy was one of 20 installed by Pope Francis this weekend at the Vatican. McElroy says his goal in his new role is to make the church more collaborative and inclusive.
We have an obligation, the church, to make LGBT persons feel equally welcome in the life of the church as everyone else. That's the mandate we have, so we have to find a way of doing that.
McElroy will have a few meetings in Rome before returning to San Diego. He's expected to preside over his first Mass as Cardinal here next week.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, deadly floods sweep through Pakistan, affecting at least 33 million people. That's coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Digital Gym Cinema kicks off a new weekly film series tomorrow called DGC Video. The films won't be screened off of old VHS tapes, but the series is meant to harken back to the cult favorite staff picks that you used to find at your favorite video store. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando has this preview.
Depending on your age, the mention of a video store will either stir nostalgia or need to be explained like using a rotary phone. But Digital Gym Cinema is hoping for nostalgia with its new weekly film series.
So DGC Video is a new film series highlighting cult classics, forgotten video store relics, I suppose, all kinds of stuff that we're excited to bring to the Digital Gym Cinema at its new location here in downtown.
Digital Gym Cinema is now open at its East Village home at Park and Market, where staff felt it needed to cultivate new audiences with innovative programming. DGC Video is sort of like having video store staff picks, but on the big screen.
The best part about being here with the Digital Gym is that we get to completely curate everything and make sure that we are adding to the discussion, adding to the conversation, and making things just more accessible to the community.
Digital Gym Cinema is part of the nonprofit organization Media Arts Center San Diego. So there's an emphasis on making films accessible, diverse, and reflective of the community.
We're also collaborating with other community organizations and galleries. For example, our upcoming screening of House of Flying Daggers is being co-presented by Good Faith Gallery, which is a neighbor not too far from us here in downtown.
Zhang Yimou's martial arts action fantasy House of Flying Daggers screens at 7 p.m. this Tuesday. And next Tuesday, you can see a truly insane cult classic from 1981 called Possession that stars Sam Neill and Isabella Johnny.
We are all the same, but in different
words, different bodies, different versions, like insects.
And while the series is designed to revisit what it calls favorites from our collective long-lost video store days, the films will not be screened off of VHS, but rather in a state-of-the-art cinema. But creating a video store vibe extends to the physical space before you even enter the cinema.
We wanted to activate this new film series in the lobby as well. And so we've incorporated this new DGC video library. You come in, you have a movie, from home, bring it in, drop it off in the case, and take another movie that you're interested in, one that you probably haven't seen, or maybe one that you love and just don't have. So it's really an installation, an extension of the series to also bring the importance of just sharing physical media, and we want to cultivate just the idea of sharing and making also that video store theme sort of tangible as well.
Digital Gym Cinema offers unique film programming in an environment that encourages discussion and exploration. Plus, you can actually contact the cinema and make requests for films that you want to see on the big screen as part of the DGC video series. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
And here is a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. The new school year is bringing with it a massive expansion of free transitional kindergarten programs. On Morning Edition, the problems parents are running into. And to reach our state's lofty climate goals, we'll have to rethink transportation. On Midday Edition, the new incentive for electric bikes. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.